Hello. I was looking through a website the other day, and some article caught my eye about some research from the University of Cambridge. The actual way that the research was conducted attracted my attention most. So firstly, I'll explain what the researchers did, then why they did it, and finally what they concluded from the research. You never know, this might give you some ideas for a future research project. So the researchers got one of their team to sit on the grass at the side of a major road leading into Cambridge, with a bicycle by his side so that he looked like he'd been in an accident and was injured. The researchers write that the man who'd had the accident sat on the ground with a look of moderate pain, rubbing his ankle and wincing. I have to say that the photo which accompanied the article didn't look to me like the guy had been in an accident. But anyway, the idea was to find out how many people from the 1,000 people or so who walked past him would stop to see if he was all right. The reason for doing this was to test how altruistic people are, meaning how much they consider the feelings and welfare of other people. It's the opposite of being selfish, thinking of yourself all the time. The researchers defined someone as altruistic if they stopped to help the injured man. A second researcher, who was further up the road, stopped those people to invite them to take part in this research. I particularly liked the way the writers described this second researcher as sat behind a bush so she couldn't see what had happened and the passers-by could not see her. So basically she was hiding. So who'd have thought that conducting research would be so much fun? Once the researchers had their altruistic people, i.e. the ones who stopped, they asked them to take part in the survey, which was mailed to their home. And by the way, it seems that only 7% of the 1,067 people who passed the accident stopped their journey to check on the man's health and well-being. So that's just 55 people out of over 1,000. Of these 55 people, 37 returned a completed questionnaire to the researchers. So not a large sample by any means. And I should add that the 1,000 people were all walking along the path and not driving, and they were all alone, not walking with somebody else. So despite the small sample size, the researchers did draw some tentative conclusions from the study. The original paper is available online if you search for "Does Empathy Predict Altruism in the Wild?" And that's in the Social Neuroscience journal. So the conclusions they made, firstly and not surprisingly, people were simply in a rush to get somewhere, which has been shown to reduce helping behaviour. Now it seems to me that at any time of the day, especially working days, people are generally on their way somewhere, and that somewhere usually has a time limit on it. So, for example, work, you have to arrive at a certain time. At weekends, time seems to be a little more free, so, we might expect people to help a little more. Secondly, the more empathetic traits one has, the more likely one is to offer help. Or, in other words, the more likely one is to be more altruistic. Now, in this particular case, 80% of those people who stopped were women. So it seems that women are more altruistic and they show more empathy. More interesting than the article itself were the comments that other readers of the article had written in response to it. They were split about half and half between those who had been left in the road after an accident with no help whatsoever, so lying in the middle of the road with cars driving around them, and those who had received a lot of help. And it seems from this anecdotal evidence that those who were involved in an accident at rush hour on weekdays on the way to work or on the way home received the least help, and those involved in accidents at weekends seem to receive the most help. So I guess if you're going to have an accident, have it at the weekend, because you'll get more help. But to temper that, some different research, although the research is very hotly debated, some research suggests that you are more likely to die in hospital at the weekend. So, swings and roundabouts, I suppose. Okay, bye-bye.